in this video, I am gonna take a brand new Kandao QooCam 3 Ultra, which is a 360-degree camera, and I'm gonna convert it into this one, which is now a 180-degree VR stereo camera. It took me about 90 minutes, and surprisingly, it seems to have, the modification has worked. Look at this. We have image, and I still haven't actually pulled the protective film off the lenses because... So there it is. We have basically created a 180 VR camera. The cost of that was some blood, sweat, and tears putting it back together. Let's try this one more time. I am Bo Lorentzen, and as you know, I've been playing with ways to shoot 180 VR, which is essentially stereo 3D video, but with 180 bubble of video, so that it looks three-dimensional in a VR headset, like the QooCam, the Quest, Meta Quest, or the Apple Vision Pro, or the Pico, or a whole bunch of other ones. There are some very easy to use, efficient solutions like the Canon, but it's about $5,000 solution. Then there are some, well, it's like a little bit plasticky, but functional solutions, but I gotta be perfectly honest, not all of them have been living up to what I hoped they would do. Finally, you can do shockingly good video by using a couple of GoPros and put a GoPro LensMod 2.0 on, and this here is a example of that. It's basically a frame that is locked down. You can drop the camera into it. So the camera goes in like this. You have to open both tops and you can drop a camera into each. The upside is it's easy to lock it down. The downside, you cannot really easily synchronize these two, and they will never be perfectly synchronized. That's supposed to be the upside of these things, but there is some other cameras on the market, and the QooCam here, which is the Kandao QooCam 3 Ultra, and then I have a mod kit from my friend Siyang in New York. So let's see what we got in here. In here, in the Kandao box, we find a brand new, and I had to redo this because I called it a GoPro, but this is a Kandao QooCam 3 Ultra. That's the 8K version of it. There's also an accessory box right here, and it has the manual, extra battery, no, actually the battery. So we're not gonna need this today because this is a new camera. And we intend to take it apart right away. Oh my God, these things are getting harder to open. So, scissors. That is the camera. I'm sure you guys, I'm gonna leave the protective stuff on it. Yeah, that should be good. Let's see if we can put something inside. There is no battery in it. That is good. That means there's no need for us to take it out. And this screen protector can stay in place. And let's move on to Siyang's kit. So here we go. Let's empty this out. And in here is the kit. This is $100 from Siyang, and it comes with the tools needed to do this. There, we're done with the box. It also comes with a QR code. And scan the QR code with your phone, and it goes to the manual how to do this. I'm gonna drop that there. I don't need my phone because I already scanned it, and what I did was for today I printed it all out, and this shows us what we need to have. Here is the box, the mod, the tool, and the whatever. I've got 2 lens protectors here. For now, let's put them on here. They were also included in the kit. Very nice, thank you. And then we have the box here. We're gonna need this out. And Inside the kit here is some extra screws. I don't know if you can see that with the GoPro. And there is also one of those things to pry the front off. This is going to be interesting. There is a very small Phillips screwdriver and 4 additional Phillips screws. So I guess we need more screws here. What the entire mod goes to do is to take these 2 cameras, swing them around to the other side, and install both of them in this mod here. It turns over actually. And then we're gonna attach this to the now empty camera hole. And nicely enough, he put a level indicator on top. Manual. It came to 26 pages, I want to say. On the last page, here it says, this is what you need to start. And on the very large page, it says, that is it, you are done. So, we are ripping into it. We have what we need. How do we get this open? Manual. So, looking at the manual, we are... Okay, remove the battery and remove the front lens cover. Use the opener to pry from the seam. So this goes along the seam. I don't think it says pry, but I hear it clicking. So we're just going to keep going. And right there. That gets the frame off. And I think, technically speaking, if you break this, the camera is still going to work. But I'm not a professional. So there. Now you can see we have all of these. Screwdriver. Oh, you're definitely going to need some pressure. And we're going to need a dish for the screws. Don't be like me and drop the screws, because these are very small and very black screws. We have unscrewed all the screws like the manual says. We're done with this page. I'm going to flip them in order over here. Now, use the opener. Over here, he says, on this side. To get in here, you actually need to apply quite a lot of pressure. So let's get in. We just got a black tap out here. This does not sound good. Okay, and just like that, we are out. So this thing here, I broke the tap sitting right here. But I'm not. And that is because Siyang shows that we're going to do this from this side, and I started here, and if I had done this right, this would have come up and pushed off this direction. But I didn't do it right, so that's on me. We're probably going to need duct tape when we're done here. The next thing we see here is a diode thing here, and we're going to carefully release the ribbon down here. You can see it right there on page 5 in the manual. Okay, so it says carefully pull the ribbon cable out. The part I didn't read So the next step here is I need to move my screws before I lose more screws. And I'm not talking about my screws, but the camera screws. We lift it up and we look for the plastic clip down here. And this little black clip, you come in from this side and you need to flip that up and then you can pull the connector cable out. We pulled it straight out, and once I flipped up the lock bar, it came out really easily. Disconnect the touch button ribbon cable circled in red using the same procedure. Okay, so see right here on the cable is the lock bar, and we flipped that up and it came undone by itself. So this is now coming out a bit more. Lift the open panel away as shown, but it is running into the microphone cable right here. Seems to be a bit tight. So here is, I think we can take the tape off the back of this camera for now. This is thermal tape. So we're gonna try to keep some of that over here, see what we're gonna do with that. There. So I put the lens protector back on, and now coming back in here, in order to release this, we have to remove the copper tape. The copper tape here is probably for thermal conductivity. Yeah, now we're getting to see what he is showing in his picture. We can see the back side of the sensor right here. I hope that's the back side of the sensor. Either that or I just pulled the sensor off itself. Just leave it to me to mess up things. So Siyang, apparently this is how we do this. It says gently, but you have to get under the corners here. So we have pulled it away from the board, and now it says to release. We're definitely going to need to release that microphone thing down here. Disconnect. Note the ones with black tape cover needs to be pulled out prior towards you to be disconnected. So this. There. Disconnect it. Then we have one more, and this one down here needs to be so this one here we pulled out. It is exactly like very small FPV batteries, but down here is another one that needs to be lifted outwards, and that is there. Okay, that helped. So this little thing has to come out before I can get this plug out. So we're gonna keep these together. I cannot get hold of this. Let's try this one more time. There. Tape comes off. The one with the black tape cover needs to be pulled or pried towards you, away from the PVC board to be disconnected. See, this is easy to say towards me, but if I can't get to it, how do I pry it? Okay, so I grabbed on the end of the cable and lifted it up, and off it came. Plate is completely separated from the body. Remove the 4 screws holding the sensor. And one thing I keep saying, this screwdriver is almost too large. So make sure you put a lot of force on it, or make sure it goes down and you don't strip the screw. There we go. There. That was the 4 screws, right? What's next? So, after we have done that, it says to put the lenses forward. And here is half of the 360 camera. Let's pull the rest of this copper tape off it. There we go. That is one of the sensors. That is half of an 360 8K camera. There. And the next, turn to your body and disconnect the flat cable on the... So the next thing we need to do is disconnect this cable from the next sensor. So we're gonna have to dig in and get rid of some more of this copper tape. There we go. So that's more copper tape. Copper tape does really 2 things. It conducts heat, but it also shields for electromagnetic radiation. If I could speak, that's what I would say. So here we have to pull on both sides and lift it out gently, like we did on the other side. And here it is. This came up. You see that? There. I don't like how this tape was covering it still. So let's get rid of some more copper tape there. You're immediately flipping to the next one, and it right away asks us to disconnect the next lens. So we have 4 screws. How on earth do you expect me to get down there, dude? Well, that's down here. So, and I cannot get to this screw. This cable right here looks like a grounding cable, so we're not going to be too concerned about that, but we are going to have to bend it out of the way ever so slightly. There. Now we can get to that screw. I want to say we're going to have to disconnect it because we probably cannot get this out till we disconnect it. Let's try. So Kandao is doing a really nice job here. Everything has been carefully and properly grounded. Okay, we got it. So we released the 4 screws, and I was able to push this directly out. And before I do anything else, I am going to turn this over because I need to recover. These are lens screws. There, 1, 2, 3. So let's try to get these out. We're going to hold these together by themselves. There, last one. This comes over there. Okay, so now we have the grounding wire question. I'm going to very quickly answer that because we know how to put it back on, so let's get rid of it. There we go. So now, this is the forward-facing camera. And we're definitely going to try to keep in mind where we got each of these. So now we have 2 cameras. Right hand was the backward-facing camera. And left hand is the forward-facing camera. So we had the control panel and the backward-facing camera, or the control panel facing camera. And then here we have what is facing away from the control panel. I feel we're almost done. Except we're only on page 11 out of 26 pages. Okay, so a bit of prying. I was really tempted to push from the other side, but that seems like a terrible idea, being microphones are sensitive devices. So instead, a little bit of prying, and this comes out right here, and that is now the front page, front side microphone. So I'm pushing this right back in where I found it because it's a microphone and it comes with a very short cable, and I'm pretty sure I know what Siyang's hack is. He's gonna switch these cables to use the shorter one here, and then he wants to use the longer one over here to go out front. But I haven't read this far. Oh my God, Siyang, you are right, I haven't broken anything yet, but this requires maybe finer tools than what I was born with. So, moving briskly ahead, it's time to pull out this part here. And Silver sent me another part, so he's actually has moved to this one here. It is a little bit easier to install because you have more space here, and if you're not going to go swimming with the camera, it probably makes no difference. I kind of like personally the one here. You can see how it has a sharp corner here, but it's completely sealed, so I could probably release it in the future and give it a shot of silicone if I wanted to. But then it doesn't really matter because look at this, we have all of these other things also. I've dropped some of these glue bits on the floor. Housekeeping is not gonna like me. Here is now the module, and it says proceed to install the components into the main body of the mod, the printed mod. Get the parts depicted in the picture. The microphone is the one with the longer. Let's get this installed. Down here, I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to try to shine a little light on it. That was the camera, not the light. Down here in the bottom is the ring, and that is where the microphone goes. And then we're going to put a camera module on each side. So this goes down here and push it into the socket. So I am taking this, you can see it right here. I'm going to put it like this, and I'm going to put it into that little hole, and I'm pushing it down. That went well. I think it can be done. Let's go ahead. It doesn't say install the right lens. Which one is the right? The first one that came out, but it doesn't say which one is right or left. push the lens forward. It doesn't say which one. Install the right lens. Remember which one? No. I don't know which one is the right one. Then use 4 of the 8 screws that was used. Make sure the orientation is exactly as depicted. So we're going to take the right one, barcode up, connector this way. So it comes in. So here it is. Was the one I put to the right on the table, and barcode connector towards the center. So we're going to put this down. This came in nicely. And now all we need to do, because there's nothing to it, is grab this, and then we're going to somehow get my little finger in there. What were you thinking when you said I could do this? Okay, here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to put the screws in first. Okay, I do see the screw coming out, and we're actually really lucky. The filament, print filament, is kind of keeping the screws in place a little bit. Yeah, so they kind of are holding themselves in place. I like that a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4 screws are in. Now remember, what I said before when I tried to do it was connector side towards the center, towards the hole right here. And now we're going to try to not push out the screws while we push the module in. Right there, you see how? So screwdriver, screw, screw, screw. I do feel, just like when it came out, the camera itself has a little bit of a twist to it, but it did have that in here too, so I feel that's how it's supposed to be. Now, looking at the next one. Alright, so he says that once we've got these screws in, we need to flip this over, and I already have tape on here, so I'm not using the lens cap, and need to look around and inspect it and make sure it's down flat. Now, if there's a teeny tweak, it can be corrected in the software calibration. However, if there's any major offsets, you should pop it out and work it till it comes in. And really what you want to do, of course, is just kind of feel around here, make sure there's no filament holding it out. And I'm still suspicious to the entire camera being a little rotated, but I can see that the base is square. It's just the camera is a teeny bit rotated, and I'm assuming they are aware of that. Okay, so having inspected it, we're going to install the second lens. And one thing I almost got wrong, but then I looked a couple of pages ahead to see the pictures. This cable mount needs to be now facing away from the mounting, center mounting. So basically this comes in here, and the two lenses are both facing the same direction with their cable mounts. Apparently this is important. So let's start out with putting the screws in the holes again. Okay, so now this comes in with the cable. So now again, this now comes in, and the cable mount needs to face the same direction as the previous camera. I have no idea how we're going to get that cable down there. Oh my goodness. There. So that one tightened. And we're moving to the next one. There. That felt good. Okay, and a quick inspection. So we have the two lens modules in, they are level, we have the microphone in, and these are the same orientation. So here we're going to put these two lens caps on, and this is obviously up because here's our bubble level. Next page. Woohoo! There's only about 10 pages left. Oh, I think we need one more bit. To make this more complicated, we need to cover the backside. So the way this gets covered is with this. See how that goes? That comes down here. Oh, that was really foolish. Now I might not get it back off. So we're gonna do like that and like that. There. So this is here. Now how the heck is this gonna reach over to there? The part that is not self-evident here is before you start to make this work, you need to pull this black tape off. And see, here is the cable. This is the microphone cable, and I'm not going to connect that yet. Right now I'm going to get this tape pulled off, but I'm also careful that I want to pull on the tape, not on all these very, very fine wires, because if you pull on those wires, I think we're done with this project. There. Okay. Tape removed. There. So now, having done that, we have more reach. Oh, that tape is sticky. Now we're coming in here. I don't know if you can see this. There. Okay, I can almost see how this is going to fit. But that is really only almost. So this still needs to be... See, now it came apart again. So basically the round socket here goes into the cable camera mount socket. Then we reach in here and we find the connector. Oh my god, there is exactly enough. Not a whole lot more. And on this side here, can you see this plastic arm? We need to get past that plastic arm to get it down further. Because there is exactly as many half millimeters as we need. But not a single millimeter more. Dear Kandao, please make these things with like 3 more millimeter cable. Because, you know, everybody intends to modify these, and it would be nice if there was a little more stretch. OMFG. This is... So you basically need to get in right here. And... there. It kind of feels like it falls into place in the... Did you hear that click? It's in there. Now, we still have the microphone coming out here, and I'm going to turn this a bit like that. Then grab the left sensor cable, and that obviously must be the left cable. Twist the cable until it lays flat and forward as depicted. So we're going to twist it here. using my fingers, it says. Who came up with that? So there. Let's try this again. See, I'm trying to bend this so it's going to basically pre-bend. And now I can see it on that side. I don't think you can see this. It's just barely there. Ah, look. Oh, yes. So you play with it, and eventually there it is. This now has to be flipped around because remember the cables comes from the side. So we have it true. Here is the cable. And now all we have to do, because it's so easy and there is plenty of space, is we need to turn it completely around. I have no idea how I'm going to complete this. Oh my God. So I should have brought a major downlight and a magnifier, I think. And we need to not damage the wires. See, so we're doing like this. Now this cable has been kind of bent. Oh, it's in. Wow. This is like amazing. We need beer. This is not going to do it. Guys, you can probably do this yourself. It's going to take more time, or at least more stress than you expected. But it's possible. Be really careful. Don't. So now we unplugged. So we have two microphones here, remember? This is actually the forward-facing microphone that is now sitting inside the box. And the forward-facing microphone plug is right here. So we're going to pull that out. And then we're going to put the long one in and call that forward facing. Okay, so now we have swapped the place between the rear microphone and the front microphone. So this microphone here, and we have the right and left in their normal places. So we get a total of 4 tracks of audio in the file. And once we throw it into the post, we can flip those microphones around, and I'm going to identify them later by dap, 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 smack them around a little bit, right? We got this over here. We flip this connector around, and we are going to page 18 and 19. Congratulations, you have finished the most difficult step in the whole mod. Well, that's a delight to hear. So that is secured in there. Now we're going to turn this back plate. And that goes around here, see, like that. And finally we're going to take 4 more lint screws. I almost forgot. I started putting the lens mount screws in, but what we really want to use is the 4 long screws from the kit. So carefully out of the kit bag. There, that's more appropriate because we are going to be screwing these into plastic. So make sure it's straight. Looks about right. And we kind of have to push that aside, but we gotta remember these cables are really fragile. And for many years I thought fragile was an Italian dish. It actually means stuff breaks easily. Good luck with that. There. Oh, much nicer. And I'm going to make sure we're not pinching the cable, because that's a quick way to cut a perfectly good cable, pinching it underneath. All right. Okay. This actually feels really good. It's firm, it's locked in place. It could probably be a little bit skinnier. I don't know. What do you think, Siyang? Now, so this is the rubber slang. And Silver said these might come out not together. So we're going to start by taking the rubber thing and putting it into the hole here. Then this microphone goes in here. Okay. And I'm going to make sure it covers this hole that is now going to be open. We still have to put these two cables in. And this one. And that one is this one down here. So let's see this cable, whatever that is. So this little cable from the cover panel, remember it doesn't go in like this, it goes down. So it needs to go into place, and you can kind of get it in place by playing with this here. Let me try to put it where you can see also. So in there, and just like that, you push it down till it clicks. Being nearsighted is actually a trick here. I can take my glasses off and I can look at stuff at this distance and it becomes big and I can almost see. I think I understand why jewelers has those magnifying things. So now we are coming to the last things here. This thing, see that little cable here? It's probably going to be the kinkiest, because the receiver is not firm. And then we close it. So push it in and the white line disappeared. And here. So we need to get this down. Okay, it's locked. Next one. So now we have one left. And that is this big fat one in here, the wide one. We need to make sure the lock is open. And it kind of moved into space by itself, but after that, oh my God. There, let's try to bend it a bit so we get a bit more lift on it. I think that's it. It felt like it went in. And this one also seems okay. I think we're there. Let's reach for the accessory box. battery. In retrospect, charging this first would probably not have been a bad plan. But what about this was not a bad plan in the first place? So we're going to flip this page. Whatever you do, do not start just till you read everything, because I just printed it out and got started, and you saw how that went. So, open, put that in. That doesn't seem right. That's because it didn't fit in. There. It's in place. Well, the screen part was good. Oh, power button is up here. I probably should have watched the review of this thing. Let's see what happens. So this is starting up. Oh, there's a cool little animation going on there. Oh, I think we're in. It says English. Tap the left icon button here to switch mode. Tap the right to switch between 180 and 360 mode. Okay. Swipe. Okay. To access, so it's like my old QooCam, mostly. This is actually very cool. They just stepped through a very basic manual. And what do you know? Here we go. Can you see that? Yeah, it's not focused over there. I'm going to do like this. But here you have it. We have the two lenses are in. Now, we're going to turn off stabilization, or at least we're going to get it perfectly level. Oops, back down. And this is ready to work. So we basically need to throw a micro SD card in, probably. I don't know. It also has internal storage, I'm sure. Why was I stupid enough to do this? One of the things that some of the 180 VR cameras has shown problems with is not being able to record smoothly. And the Ultra is shooting 8K incredibly smoothly. So basically, this is the proven platform. And these cameras were not really made to do the 180 VR. Those of us, even those of us who do 360 VR, is a very, very narrow niche. So you can't really expect to do that. So basically, Kandao and all the other makers of 360 cameras has no interest in 180 VR because it's such a small group compared to all the other users. But the upside here is the users use this for 8K in order to make reframe videos. You know, those where like the camera whips around. So this is a well stabilized, it's a great platform, and a couple of people has been hacking other cameras, and I think Silver came up with a really nice hack here. It's easy to install. It only took me like an hour and a half. And I'm going to edit this down to about half an hour for you guys, but there it is. So that's about it. What still needs to happen is I need to click this down, put the screws in around. Then I need to use the tweezers to attach the last microphone so that this microphone facing back gets plugged into the back facing microphone hole. So now we have the forward, the right, the left, and the back correctly. And in the kit, there's also a round disc that fits in here. Where the heck did I put it? Here. Don't mind me. So in here, it comes with a round disc like that goes right in here. It says S for silver, probably. Silver mods. All right, so that is it. We are on the last page, and right down here, I haven't put the screws on yet, but that is the last thing to do. And then we push this thing in, and it is closed. So that's the full mod. If you are not comfortable breaking this apart, Silver is making these. I'm going to put a link below, and he will take it brand new out of the box and modify it for you and UPS it to you, ready to take out and start shooting 180 VR with out of the box. You should also look at his webpage and see some of the samples he has done, because he has done really good work with this. Finally, well, size-wise, this here, I should grab this. This is my iPhone, and here's the camera. And he has a ton of great pictures of it. It's not particularly big. It is almost pocketable. Compare that to a Canon right here, and you can see the difference. I do feel the blacks are a little bit of a problem with this camera, but it really doesn't matter. What is more interesting is you can shoot 8-shot high dynamic range bracket shots for time lapse, and it saves it out as DNGs or as JPEGs. And it is incredibly stable. I've seen a couple of videos where he's just hand holding and walking it, and the video is locked in like it's on gimbal. So I think if you use the bubble level on top, it's there. And look at some of my videos. Take a look at my sailing video that was shot in Thailand with the 360 or 180 VR GoPro. Please take a look at that. And then I shot another one in Netherlands over Christmas that I just also uploaded. I haven't color corrected it, but it shows you what the GoPro can do, and it does show a lot of details. Unfortunately, YouTube is really only 4K, but I would still always be shooting in 8K to have the extra. Oh, on specs, 8K, you can reduce the resolution to 5.6K and shoot 60 frames per second with this camera. And Silver has a download for a custom version of the Studio, the QooCam Studio app that will render this out as 180 VR instead of 360 and use the stabilization. So go check out his website. The part I installed today is $100 plus shipping. Stay tuned. Grab a cup of coffee, sit down, and print out Silver's instructions for this mod, or put them on your iPad or your phone and kind of follow away. If you put them on your iPad or on your phone and kind of follow along, if you're thinking about modifying a Ultra QooCam, Kandao QooCam 3 Ultra. If you're thinking about modifying that to a 180 VR camera, it is absolutely not that impossible. But follow along. I'm going to tell you some of my problems I ran into, and go grab a cup of coffee first, because this is going to be more than 5 minutes.